Hello, this is Paul Callan from MotorZen News. This week we've got EV sales fall short, Mini move to China, ZF e-beam axle, EV battery to buy, M2 more power, will the grid take it, and Renault network. EU EV sales fall short of their own goal. So the European Union are not meeting the targets that they set out for themselves in terms of EV sales performance. The increase has only been 1% on last year. 11% is the total percentage of sales that have gone to EV in Europe, and 20% of those are Chinese. So now also in the release of those figures, there's calls from within Europe to bring in subsidies like what they have in America. In America, they're bringing in subsidies for any manufacturer that produces an EV vehicle in America or produces the battery in America. And obviously Europe now is running scared of the attack of the Chinese electric vehicle, because what they're looking for now is the same deal. They want subsidies for EVs built in Europe, and they want subsidies for batteries built in Europe. So again, looks like that the inability of European manufacturers to compete looks like something we're all going to have to pay for, because I've been looking at this for a long time, and I've said the Chinese are leaving the Europeans dead in the water. So now what the Europeans are saying is, look, we need to get more money off you if for us to build an EV. BMW, this news is only just out today. There's not a lot around it, but BMW have announced that they're moving the production of the Mini EV from the Callan plant, the old British Leyland plant, Rover plant in Birmingham. It's coming out of there and going to production in China. So another blow to the UK economy. 40,000 vehicles a year are being produced at that plant. Now they are suggesting that maybe Great Wall, who are going to come in there and produce other products there, but right now the news is that BMW is pulling production of the EV Mini. ZF in America have launched a new axle, e-beam axle is what ZF are calling this, and it's a product designed for the pickup truck market in America, and everything's combined on the axle. Haven't seen any photographs of this yet to see how compact or bulky or whatever it is, but the axle combines the motor, the inverter and the transmission all on the axis of the axle, from what we can understand. So I presume it must be very compact. It can come in either 400 or 800 volt voltages. It produces 470 brake horsepower, and it produces 11,500 foot-pounds of torque. And you can also have rear steer on the axle too. So again, just going to show how, traditionally you have a vehicle, it would have an engine, it would have a gearbox, it would have a drive shaft, it would have a back end. How much items are being removed, how compact this whole product appears to be, in that all you're going to have, all your drive and all your power and all your running gear, bar your battery, is simply on the back axle. So we're going to try and get a bit more information on that product. At the start of the year, on some of our first shows, we spoke about Honda and Sony. And I don't mean like Honda putting stereos, Sony putting stereos in Honda cars. Honda and Sony are building a car together. They're building an electric vehicle. It was launched, the concept was launched in the electronics show in Las Vegas at the start of the year. They're saying that they're going to launch in 2026. They're saying that the vehicle is going to have level 3 autonomous on it. It's going to come with all the new software systems that's going to allow all the subscriptions, so it looks like all the options on the car are going to be subscription orientated through the software, and it's only going to be sold online. So again, a whole new way of doing things. It looks like Honda stroke Sony are going for a reset on how they build cars and how they sell cars and how they interact with the consumer of the car. And they're really just saying, right, this is a whole new way of doing things. And this Sony Honda link up seems to be a way for them to start with a clean sheet. Brilliant, you made it to the middle bit again. Thanks very much. Again, if you could please like, comment and subscribe, and if there's anybody out there that you could mention to in the trade, just maybe mention to them about the channel and ask them to tune in and have a look. Swindon Powertrain are producing a battery, and it's a battery that they're producing specifically for producers of specialist vehicles, small manufacturers, or for conversions. So it's going to be 2 batteries are the option, and if you're building a specialist vehicle, or you're doing low volumes of manufacturing, or you simply want to do a conversion, they offer you the battery off the shelf. Right now the battery performance is 30 kilowatt hours and 60 kilowatt hours. The standard dimensions, 1 meter long by 420 mil, and the height will vary depending on be 30 or 60. So it's 317 mil if it's a 30, and it's 615 mil if it's a 60 kilowatt battery. And right now, yeah, it's a bit of a tough space, because if you see someone who's doing a conversion, they're trying to source an existing battery. They're trying to take a battery from a damaged vehicle, and in some cases not exactly knowing what the history of the battery is, what the performance of the battery is, as in charge capacity left in it. And this company has seen an opportunity to say, right, we just offer you the battery. We offer you a battery to suit your needs. So now you know exactly the dimensions. So when you design it, you can design it, your vehicle around the battery, or even when you do your conversion, you already have your dimensions, and you can work out where on that converted vehicle, be it a 1960s car or a 1950s car or a 1980s car, you now work with fixed dimensions for the battery, so you can work all that out and figure out where it's going to go. They're offering that for sale now from September. I'm not sure what the price is going to be. Oh yeah, and the base one, the 30 kilowatt, is weighing 190 kilos, so not massively excessive on that one either. Back to old school, BMW M2, which I think is probably the closest thing to an M3 E30, more to do with the size of the car. Some revised engines on them. They're getting the performance increases on the 3-litre turbo straight 6, going to 453 brake horsepower. That's 48 more than the old model. However, the new model is going to be 91 kilos heavier, so I'm not sure whether that negates the increased performance, negates against the weight. Interesting statistic on this one was that the 0 to 60 on the manual is 4.1 seconds, but with the automatic it's 3.9. So an interesting change there, in that I would have always argued that the manual was going to be quicker than the automatic. Goes to show how advanced and how much automatics have come on, that the automatic transmission would beat the manual off the line. The big question that's been asked so much, and there's been a survey done, and that question is, can the grid handle all those EVs? And there's been a survey done across the world. This survey took a view of all that's going on with electric vehicles around the world. And some of the basic statistics, or some of the headline statistics out of this survey, is that right now, or well, certainly by the end of the year, they're saying that we'll have 27 million PHEVs in the world. And what they're saying is that those 27 million PHEVs take 0.2% of the total electricity demand right now. Norway, which has got 20% of its vehicles, 20% of the car park in Norway is EV. And right now, Norway, those vehicles consume 1.4% of the grid capacity. And the prediction on this survey is that by 2040, and this would include, this is battery electric vehicles, including trucks, buses and cars. They're saying that 3/4 of the market will be taken up by battery electric vehicles, both car, truck and bus. And they're saying that that's going to consume 11 to 15% of the grid. So if you take what this survey is saying, right now what we're consuming is almost irrelevant. It's such a small amount. And it looks like as we ramp up, we've got our ramping up is not huge, and that what we're going to draw off the grid is not huge, to a max of 11 to 15% at 2040. So what you'd be thinking would be that your grid capacity, your grid performance could ramp up faster than the demand. That would be the logic taken from this. However, this year in California, and okay, it's probably the highest volume of EVs in America would be in California, but this year in California during the heat wave, EV owners were asked not to plug their vehicles in during the heat wave. So, you know, you'd wonder about the whole strength and capacity of the grid, but that's those figures that come out from that statistic. And interesting enough, I talked to a guy from Kerry that was in America there recently, and I said he's from the industry, and I asked him what did he notice. He noticed that all the taxis are hybrid RAVs, and he said many school buses and buses in general are electric in America now as well. So interesting to hear that coming back from him, from someone that was actually there and brought that information home. Renault is going to build its own charging network. So Renault have said that's it. They're building their own charging network along the same lines as Tesla. They're going to build them near to dealers or near to motorway exits. It's a slightly different system from what they're calling it, a stationary storage system. I don't fully understand, but what they're saying is they don't need a grid connection. So it sounds like maybe it's some kind of a device that they charge up and then it charges up the cars. They reckon they can handle 6 cars at a time. There's going to be customer waiting areas in and around these facilities. So if you own a Renault, you're going to have your own charge network. They say they're rolling it out in France, Belgium, Italy and Spain. I didn't hear little old Ireland mentioned in the rollout, so maybe we have to stay with the 1.5 DCI for a little bit longer. But that's what they're saying they're going to do. Just on a quickly, we need to add this in on a separate story. The Auto Trade Expo took place last weekend in the RDS. It was a huge success. Great numbers showed up for it. Great buzz, great buzz around the place. All the exhibitors were really happy with the people, with the numbers that came. We met a few people that watch the channel, and we got great feedback. You know, really encouraging, because sometimes you do this and you wonder, is anybody watching or anybody listening? And it really was encouraging to talk to some of the lads I talked to at the event, and to say, look, they love what we're doing and keep doing it. And all I did is ask to them guys, please put the message out to other people, because it's, again, it's not everybody, it's not for everybody, but anybody that has real interest in the trade would like to watch it. The piece of news that I'm bringing you from the event was that Joe Fallon, PJ Fallon Tools and Equipment, they raffled a toolbox off, and that toolbox, the reason I'm bringing this to you, was won by a Dundalk man, Aaron McCann. So Dundalk's a winner on that one, and big thanks to Joe for that at the event of the weekend as well. So really successful event, and look forward to the next one. That's it for another week. Thanks for tuning in. Please, again, if you could, like, comment and subscribe. Mention it to anybody in the trade that you think might be interested in it. Just one thing that came from the show and from a few of the guys that are watching, they've been asking us, could we put it in a podcast form? And, you know, when I drilled into it and said why, sure, it stands to reason. The guys say, look, we like listening to it in the workshop. We don't really, would like not to have to actually look at me. This is what they're kind of saying. Let's be fair about it. So we don't want to look at your mug. I'm saying, grand, okay, I've got over that. We're going to have it on podcast soon, hopefully, so that you're going to be able to just put it on the radio in the workshop or put it on the headphones and tune in. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we're going to get that launched. Look, tune in next week for the next exciting episode, and see you then. Thanks, guys.